welcome back to L'Amour Musique, and welcome to a different location. I'm praying I don't have autofocusing issues. I'm downstairs. I have filmed down here before, but I think it's been probably over a year. You're used to seeing me in my office space, which is up in the attic. It's like 93 or 4 degrees here today, and it just gets extremely hot up there. Also, I wanted you to see these. And I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the little ledge of that kids table back there so they can be part of my background. I don't have a good setup yet in my regular filming space to have a very nice table with fresh flowers and a candle, you know, quintessential YouTube type of stuff. But these are tuberose flowers. They're from a flower shop called The Flower Garden, which is based in St. Anne, Illinois, I think. Flower Garden flowers and bouquets are available at different Chicago area farmers markets. So I've tried bouquets here and there. They had tuberoses available this week, and they are perfuming the whole downstairs. Baby L'Amour, they sit on the middle of our kitchen table. Baby L'Amour just loves fresh flowers and like points during mealtime and like squeals with delight. So it's extremely joyful. I'm gonna go ahead and put them back there for us. So my last couple of videos have been really quite long, as we know is my MO. I'm gonna try and make today a little bit shorter. However, I can sit and talk about Earthwise Beauty for hours probably. In fact, I regularly gas on about Earthwise products during my Friday morning live Get Ready With Me's. On Patreon, I do so much talking about Earthwise there, and those are usually at least an hour long. I mean, I'm doing makeup, but I feel like I talk about Earthwise every week there. And I've wanted to bring Earthwise content to YouTube. There's so much to the brand. I think doing a comprehensive brand review, that's kind of what I was initially setting out to do. But I think I want to take it in chunks, at least for right now. So my plan of attack for sharing my thoughts, and I've been using Earthwise almost exclusively, I'll test other things for other projects or other boxes, but Earthwise is really what I'm using on a day-to-day basis for the last 6 months. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 oils/oil serums in Earthwise's range. They do also have an eye oil serum, and I thought maybe I would throw it into today's review, but I think what I'm going to do is put this with the serums in Earthwise's range. So Nap in the Meadow, Ambrosia do Cerrado, On a Swing Among Trees, this, and Resiliency when it comes back in stock and I have an opportunity to try it. And then I might also throw the cleanser and the toner, and maybe also the Sunveil powder. And then I'm gonna do a separate video on the 3 balms. So this is at least 3, maybe 4 videos. But I thought starting with the oils would be a good manageable place to start, because if you're anything like me, I am very drawn to brands that have oils as a focal point of the brand. So the brands that become my heaviest rotation, the brands that I use as the cornerstone of my personal routine outside of beauty blogging and content creation, are these brands. Also, oils, face oils, oil cleansing, just using oils in a beauty routine was really my entree into moving from conventional beauty to eco-organic green beauty a decade ago. I had never really encountered oils as part of a skincare routine. And it wasn't until I started finding the community of these small niche eco beauty brands that had a face oil. You know, Kahina Argan Oil or the Acure Argan Oil or Marula Seed Oil, those were very popular back in the day. So oils are kind of always one of the things that I gravitate towards in a brand. And I've been interchanging with the 5 of these for the last 6 months. I feel like I can share some really comprehensive thoughts on them, some of my favorite ways to use them, but it's a living art and an evolving process. So I'll love to hear from each and every one of you about what you think of these. They're very seasonal. It's late summer here in Chicago. This is kind of our last week, hopefully, of extremely hot weather. And we're gonna be transitioning into drier, cooler weather. So I'll kind of have these environmental considerations in mind when I'm talking about the products. I'm gonna assume, just to save a little bit of time, that if you're watching this, you've at least heard of the brand. And if you're totally new, I would recommend going going to listen to the interview that I did with Ava Zahn, the founder of Earthwise, on my podcast, Your Purpose is Beauty. It's episode 32. It's one of the most popular interviews that I've done. We talk about Ava's history, her genesis with the brand, about formulation, about essential oils and skincare, about her sourcing, which is impeccable and just so gives me so many feelings inside. And then we spend, I would say, the last third of the episode talking about flower essences. So that would be content that I'm planning to do eventually, because that's a much more in-process thing that I'm going through. I've been working with Ava for, again, I think since March-ish on custom flower essences. There could be so much to say there. And then I also want to do a review of all the teas in Earthwise's range. I am really extremely late to the game in discovering Earthwise. The products have been featured in 2 past Boxwalla boxes and in other beauty boxes. It was just kind of divine timing, the right timing for me to discover this brand and connect with Ava and really rediscover what drew me to eco beauty in the first place. Because as we know, there is a full-on assault against anything alternative, health, beauty, anything outside the mainstream narratives is under so much fire at the moment. And I really consider Ava and what she's doing with Earthwise and Pacific Northwest Essences to be a keeper of a particular kind of extremely valuable plant wisdom, knowledge, healing, beauty, all of these things. So I want to give as much of my attention, put as much of this kind of work on my platform as possible, because I just think that it's so needed right now. Enough of my soapbox. You can always save 10% on all of your Earthwise Beauty and Pacific Northwest Essences orders with my code LAMOUR, LAMOUR. You can use it repeatedly. It's not just a one-time use type of thing. And it's also good on essence consultations, anything on the Essences site. And I think that's it for announcements. Let's start talking about these gorgeous oils. So immediately I thought that the easiest way to organize this video between the 5 oils would be to talk about the oils from lightest to heaviest. So they're gonna go in this order, from lightest to heaviest. So the lightest oil in Earthwise's range is the Ruby Face Oil. It's described as being fruity with an antioxidant punch, appropriate for all skin types from acne prone to oily to dry, sensitive, and sun damaged skin. So I consider Ruby to be a slightly lighter version than the Laurel Sun Serum. It's also somewhat similar, in my opinion, to Ranavat Radiant Rani. They kind of, and I have described this oil like that other places. It's very vibrant, marigold, orange, yellow color. Let me tell you some of the ingredients in it. I also pulled all of my boxes because the boxes have really beautiful prints on the inside that I just think are gorgeous. So this is abundant in beta carotene, vitamin C and E from guava seeds, cranberry seeds, rose hips, raspberry seeds, and pequi fruits. It also has tamanu nut kernel oil. It has turmeric CO2 extract, evening primrose CO2 extract, and celery CO2 extract. And it also has a little bit of mimosa flower absolute in it. I'm very happy to see the celery CO2 extract because the scent experience of this oil is interesting. And this is just why I love Earthwise so much. The more that you use the products, different layers are uncovered. And I think about it actually like my relationship to music. So for anybody that doesn't know, I've been into house music, specifically deep house, since the mid-2000s. I started DJing. I had this whole side gig as a working DJ for many, many years until I moved back to Chicago. Basically, I was still DJing gigs from time to time. And my experience with a brand like Earthwise is similar to my experience with deep house, because over time, different layers of the music come forward to you, reveal themselves to you. So a song that you used to love in 2008 can sound very different in 2014 because you're a different person, vibrationally you're different, and your consciousness is attuned to something else in the song or in the formula. So I more recently have been smelling the celery in the face oil, and it's more after the oil has been on my face for a couple of hours. So when it first goes on, everyone kind of describes something different with the way they smell this. To me, it's always smelled a bit like an acidic, slightly sour, fruity smell. Some people have described it as smelling like balsamic vinegar. Some people say it smells like carrots. It's amazing. It smells like a juice bar, kind of. I've always loved the scent. From the minute I used this oil, I loved it. It's the one that they actually recommend mixing into Farizad's Sun Veil Reflector. So I'm not going to be covering that here. That could be a video unto itself. But I will say that one of my favorite combinations with Farizad's Sun Veil, I've done it just with this, like 6 to 8 drops of this and a generous amount of the Sun Veil powder. And more recently, I've been really liking a mix, and this is gonna transition into our next oil, of the Ruby Face Oil and the Rosa Whole Fruit Rosehip Seed Oil. 4 drops of this, 4 drops of this, a generous amount of the Sun Veil powder, and that is one of my perfect daytime concoctions. So let's move into talking about Rosa now. I have been a long time user and lover of rosehip seed oil. It's one of my favorite skincare oils. My skin personally loves it. As someone that doesn't use a synthetic vitamin A, aka a retinol, rosehip seed oil can have a much gentler resurfacing type of effect on the skin. I have just always seen it as being very good skin nutrition, and how can you not think that, because the color is just so insanely vibrant. Now this is on another level. I have mostly been a devotee of the Pi Bioregenerate Rosehip Seed Oil. I've gone through goodness knows how many bottles of that over the years. I continued using that through pregnancy. Actually, that and argan oil were like the only things I used on my skin, and actually the rosehip seed oil felt extremely active on my pregnancy skin. However, it's just an ingredient that I think should be a staple in so many people's routines because it's so nutritious. Most skins really love it. And especially if you have this more gentle approach to skincare and supporting skin integrity, it's just such a wonderful oil to have around. Let me just read a quick blurb from the website because I think it's more well put than I could sit here and extemporaneously say. It says, we offer lushly scented products and unscented products, complex formulas with many ingredients, and simple formulas with very few ingredients. Still, it felt like a bold move to offer a product with just one ingredient, rosehip oil. What is unique about high quality whole fruit rosehip oil as compared to many other single carrier oils is that it delivers noticeable results and benefits most skin types. What's so unique about this one is that it also has the fruit pulp and skin. So it's not just part of the plant, it's a whole plant oil. It is definitely a little bit staining to the skin. So that's something that you have to be prepared for. You either want to use it at night and give it some time to sink in, unless you want it to transfer onto your pillowcase. But the perfect way this has found its way into my routine is mixing it into any of the other Earthwise oils as part of the Sun Veil routine. The effect that this gives when mixed with that Sun Veil powder is nothing short of perfection. It cancels out any bit of white cast that powder would leave on my skin. In fact, I was getting, depending on the proportions that I would use, a little bit of a white cast just using Ruby and the Sun Veil powder. But mixing in several drops of Rosa completely mitigates any white cast. I feel like I get the best finish if I'm using the Sun Veil powder. If you want to keep your routine extremely minimal, I totally think that this is the way to go. If you're placing an Earthwise Beauty order, just getting a sample size of this, which is $16 for a 5 milliliter bottle. The full size 30 ml bottle of this is $48, so it's actually extremely affordable. To me, this is an essential product because you can mix it with everything else and it's gonna act like a booster type of product. And especially if you are getting white cast issues with not just Farizad's Veil, but any kind of white cast type of physical sunscreen, this is gonna counteract it. And I just consider it to be kind of a miracle product, really. It's so stunning. Now moving right along, we're gonna go into, well, I was gonna go into another favorite combination with one of my other favorite daytime combinations, but if we're going in order from lightest to heaviest, I would say that it goes Ruby, Rosa, Magical Babassu. So this is described as a face oil for dry skin, but it's not as rich as the two that are gonna come after. So it's moisturizing, but it doesn't have the same richness, or it's not gonna kind of immediately plump up the skin the way Black Locust and Ferns and Moss do. However, this is such a workhorse product because I love it for skincare. And in fact, we're getting into the time of year when I think it's really gonna shine, fall and winter. But I love this as an end of hair oil. Earthwise's oils and the balms too are so interesting to me because Ava is very attuned to the properties of ingredients in Western herbalism terms, but she also, I think, has this deep canon of knowledge around Chinese medicine. So she talks about products in terms of being dry, damp, warm, cool, like these types of descriptors. So for example, several of the balms in Earthwise's range, I'm thinking of Tigress specifically, it's a face balm, but it's a dry face balm. It's described as a dry face balm. So it's not gonna be as moisturizing or as plumping as something like the Ferns and Moss oil, which is not a dry product. I hope that that makes a little bit of sense. This is described as creamy and velveteen, such good words. And it's all about hydrating, softening, and smoothing the skin without a heavy or oily feel. It's described as a medium weight oil, very lightly scented with fresh white and pink lotus, along with hints of forest honey-like delicate mimosa and nutty virgin Babassu oil. It also has a subtle undertone from tobacco absolute, and it has also a little bit of Haitian vetiver. The scent is extremely alluring. I would be very hard pressed to think that anybody wouldn't like the way that this smells. It really does have, like, I love Babassu oil. I love nutty oils. Like, I really, really like that scent, especially with the cooler weather and the seasons that we're moving into. The Babassu oil comes from Brazil, and it has a light powdery feel, dry butter consistency, meltability on contact with the skin. And Babassu oil is just really good if you have itchy skin, red skin, inflamed skin. It also has gentle antibacterial properties, and it's non-comedogenic, so really good for acne prone skin. So I think that if you are acne prone but also dry and dehydrated, this would be a wonderful product. I find it to be like kind of like a cashmere blanket type of feel. It just kind of puts a very comfortable layer of moisture on the skin. Again, I think it plays really well with the serums or the balms. I mean, so I have really been trying to get a feel for just the single products for the last 6 months, and I've only just recently in the last month started to experiment with mixing and matching. So mixing some of the oils with the balms, but until then I was really just trying to experience the products as singletons. This also has Brazil nut oil, sacha inchi, which they get from Chile, Pracaxi pod oil, which is another Amazonian rainforest oil. We talked about Ava's proclivity with Amazonian ingredients in the podcast conversation. It also does have a very small amount of fair trade shea butter from West Africa, but it's totally unrefined and hand extracted. So I think at least I fully trust Ava's sourcing and her discernment with the sources of the ingredients that she gets. So for example, if you feel like you've always had an issue with shea butter, if you feel like you've always had an issue with coconut oil, I think that at least sampling the way that it can be done when the ingredients are at their most elevated, when the ingredients are coming from small artisanal producers as unrefined as possible and in their kind of most optimal state, to provide benefits to your skin, I think that Earthwise is absolutely a cut above the rest. Now we're going to move into a pretty beloved product from Earthwise, the Black Locust Firming Concentrate. This and Rosa came out. I think Rosa maybe came out after Black Locust, but it's a relatively new product launch for them. This 5 milliliter bottle is $36. And the full-size 15 milliliter bottle is $86. So I think that this is the priciest oil in the range. And it's the oil that's really for anti-aging. I know we all have a lot of issues with anti-aging rhetoric and whatnot in the beauty industry, but it is the one that is most going to target the concerns of mature or aging skin. This oil was created to improve a wide range of mature skin concerns, including wrinkles, loss of firmness, loss of elasticity, and roughness, all without causing clogged pores or sensitization. It can be used day or night by itself, or it can be added as a booster to the other oils. With Black Locust, we are venturing deeper into the territory of botanical ingredients that are being newly proven in scientific studies. So this does have some bakuchiol in it. This and Ferns and Moss I consider to be more oil serums, and the other three are more oils in my opinion. I guess Ruby is kind of a very light oil serum. Black Locust and Ferns and Moss to me are like the oil serums in the range. So it has bakuchiol in a 1% concentration, lupine seed, sea buckthorn berry, a totally favorite ingredient of mine, calendula, another favorite, acai berry, Kalahari melon seed oil, who I think Lil Fox formulates with Kalahari melon seed oil, which I love. So the scent of Black Locust is the herbal notes of babchi, the exotic floral opulence of Indian golden champaka, and the edible green yet fruity floral scent of rhododendron flower. I'm almost out of this one. Color looks like it's kind of a golden brown color. It doesn't stain the skin in the same way that Rosa does. I feel like my computer has been giving me like a bit of a unfortunate, oh my God, that's so much better. Why have I been keeping my computer open this whole time? The very first time I used this, now I will say I had a little bit of reticence around using it because I have not been entirely comfortable with the bakuchiol craze that really struck Eco Beauty last year, like last winter, or like maybe it was even a year and a half ago. It's been kind of a while. So I was like, I'm gonna try it because I wanted to do this brand review, so I kind of wanted to try everything, and I put like 5 or 6 drops of this on my face just alone as like my only skincare step to really get a feel for it. And I was blown away because there is an energetic element to this that comes forward in a really salient way. I described it on an IGTV that I did. I had done a skincare routine on IGTV, and I said that the first time I used this, it felt like there was a garden of flowers growing from my being. It just felt like my face kind of came alive, and it was really kind of profound. I was extremely taken aback by what it was like to just put this undiluted on my skin as my only skincare step. So also on the website, it says, Ava worked to achieve an energetic message with this product to support the state of mind and emotions of the man or woman who's beginning to see signs of aging in themselves. The Black Locust tree is Ava's choice of symbol for this stage in life. Black Locust trees look dark and wrinkled most of the year, yet they have an arresting woman's energy as well. In the spring, Black Locust trees become covered in large fragrant blooms, usually white or off-white. The female remembers and enjoys her beauty and lightness. My favorite way to use this now has evolved. I do like to still use it as a standalone serum for overnight use, but my new favorite way to use it is in combination with Rosa as a daytime oil combo. So I do a generous amount of the Farizad's Veil, 4 drops of Rosa, and 2, sometimes 3 drops of Black Locust. Do that combination when I maybe have woken up and my skin is feeling a little bit more dry or just a little bit lackluster. Whereas if I wake up and my skin is putting its best foot forward, Rosa and Ruby is kind of more what I'm apt to do. If it's gonna be really warm outside and I want something super lightweight, I'll do Rosa with Ruby. But I see myself, I definitely will be repurchasing. The small size I think is good because if you use it as a booster, you just are gonna use 2 or 3 drops at a time. But if you wanna use it and you really wanna see results from it and like use this as your daily nighttime serum, yeah, like 4, 5, 6 drops at night. More is definitely more with Earthwise products, I found, and in fact that comes forward in a lot of the education of the products, especially the serums. I think we're kind of used to using like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And in the research that I've done into Earthwise, Ava will say, do as much as your skin will take. You know, start with 3 to 4 pumps of a serum, let that sink in, assess, do a couple more pumps. Like more is kind of more. And the same could be said with the oil. See how much your skin drinks up and then adjust accordingly. Now let's move into the last one, the richest oil, and the oil that I am falling in love with. I was how do I want to describe the first couple of times I used Ferns and Moss? Well, I should say that Ferns and Moss, Ava has described as being kind of the most emblematic signature product of Earthwise. At least she has said that in the past. I don't know if she still feels that way. But I know that Ava has a particular proclivity for mosses and lichen and kind of these types of environments. The first time I put this on my skin, I was just like, I've never ever encountered a product in the beauty industry like this. So let me show you what it looks like. Again, I mean, the colors of these products just cannot be beat. That alone, I think, tells you the quality of the ingredients that she's working with. It smells a bit like a bitter gingerbread cookie mixed with like an Adirondack chair wood type of smell. The interesting thing about this is the first couple times I used it, I have never ever noticed this before, but obviously I applied it the same way I apply other face oils. And I could taste a little bit of bitterness. When you're doing a skincare routine, you know, I'm really getting in there and massaging, so I inevitably must get some around my lips, but I've never like tasted an oil before. But just by virtue of applying this, I was like, oh, I'm tasting something like a little bit bitter. And I think that that just goes to show, and by the way, I don't think that that's bad at all. I think bitter anything is amazing from constitutional herbal perspective. So I was just kind of surprised at the potency of this product, and I'm still really discovering things about it. This was designed for skin that needs serious nourishing, repair, restructuring, moisture retention, healing, cell regeneration, or detoxing. A need for skin detoxing is evident as recurring dark spots or an overall unhealthy dark or dull facial appearance, or as water retention and a puffy appearance. This is not an oil that's going to work the first time you use it, the first week you use it. This is like the slow burn product. This is not like Black Locust that I feel gives an immediate visible difference to the skin. This is a slower worker, but I am so captivated by this. Particularly suited for skin that seems to be thoroughly dry into its deepest layers, mature, wrinkled, prematurely aged, with wounds that need healing, scars, chapped, tight, dry eczema. In short, if your skin is so dry that nothing works, if your scratches or wounds are just healing or healing slowly, if your skin cracks or lacks suppleness, this is the product for you. Particularly recommended for ages 40 and older. Some of the key things in here: Andiroba oil, which is another Amazonian ingredient, has a long list of healing properties, including detoxification, antimicrobial, and skin rejuvenation. It also has copaiba balsam, which has a unique sweet scent and well-documented anti-inflammatory, anti-acne, and antiviral. Madagascar tamanu oil, sea buckthorn, calendula manketti mongongo, which is a relatively unknown as of yet botanical oil from Africa. It has moringa, Iranian galbanum, and oak moss absolute. This is the product that I most like to use after I have done a facial steam and a mask, like a full Earthwise routine. This is my treatment step of choice, either alone. So after I've removed the mask and just my skin is very neutral, I like going in with a generous amount, 4 to 5 drops directly onto the skin, toner on top. I do oil then toner. Some people might do the opposite, but I just want to get the oil on my skin first thing. My second favorite way to use it, or the way that I've been really just, it's like the only routine I want to do at night, is a first layer of the Yasuni balm, which I'll be covering in a future video, with 2 to 3 drops of this to massage the balm into my skin. That combination is blissful. Yasuni took me a while, honestly. I didn't love that product right away, and there's so many thoughts to share on that, but it pairs so beautifully with Ferns and Moss. So I will end this video by saying that I truly am not sure that I have ever been happier with my skin than I am right now, after making Earthwise Beauty a foundation of my routine, I just have completely fallen in love with this brand. I wish that I had been into it all these years, that so many of my blogger friends were singing the praises. But I guess it was just my time to finally discover them and bring it forward to you. I know a lot of you probably already use and love the products, but for any of you that are new to this brand, I hope that I've convinced you to at least pick up some samples of some of these. I mean, picking up a sample of each of the 5 oils and trying, if it's within your budget, I think is totally the way to go. It also, like the rotating of oils, like picking up maybe 2 or 3 that call to you the most, is just gonna supply your skin with a really nice array of different antioxidants, different ingredients. So I think of using Earthwise and rotating the products, and then over time thinking of creative ways to combine the products as just giving my skin like a well-rounded and balanced diet. I bet this video has sounded like it has been sponsored because I've just been so effusive, but you know I don't do sponsored work on my channel, so this is just 100% from the heart, true effusive love. So I hope that this was helpful. Please let me know if you have questions. I also highly recommend going on to Earthwise's website because there's just so much written about every product that she does. And it's something that I've had to take in slowly over time, research over time, test over time, because there really is that depth of experience to the products. Everything I will have listed in the description box below, the discount code to remind you, links to everything, a link to the podcast interview with Ava. I guess I'll close with my little imploring for you to help me get to 199 patrons on the LAMOUR et La Musique Patreon community by the end of September. I'm doing a little self-motivated campaign and push to try and grow the membership to 199 patrons. And once I hit that goal, I'm gonna begin offering full transcripts for every podcast episode, which will be another layer of investment, but it's something that I feel really strongly about doing for accessibility reasons and also just your ease of use. To have a document to refer back to. I get a lot of requests for asking questions, follow-up information, whatnot, and I know that it can be annoying to skip around an audio file without timestamps. So I'm hoping that that will be of interest to people. If you've derived any kind of positive benefit from my work and can spare a couple of dollars, I would really appreciate your support on patreon.com/l'amour et la musique. Of course I was wordy. Of course my video is long. I've been saying this for years that, I don't know, I just need to stop apologizing for it and close my laptop so my skin doesn't look like it has a glare on it like it did for most of this video. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Let me know what you want to see next, if you want to see the review of the balms, if you want to see a review of the serums, or kind of how you'd like to see that structured. Oh, I guess the final thing, if you're still here to the very end, I did a full bells and whistles to the nines Earthwise Beauty skincare routine on Patreon this month. So if you need an additional incentive to go over there, that's at the $7 a month level, which is the bonus video level. That would also give you access to 2.5 years of extra videos. I've done 30 plus at this point. So if you're looking for more work of mine, I'm gonna be highlighting on Instagram this month all of the extra work that I've done to just remind people, let them know what's over there in that library and what kind of benefits you would get. So I did a double cleanse, I did a steam, I did a mask, I did a treatment. So if you want to see some stuff in action, that's on Patreon this month. Okay, I think I'm finally done. Love you guys, take care, and I can't wait to see you soon.